Have you ever received a notification from Medicare that you were overpaid and wondered what to do next? Or maybe you identified an overpayment on a claim and need to know how to notify Medicare. This video will help you understand the overpayment process, your responsibilities to pay the money back, and what you can do if you disagree with an overpayment determination. An overpayment is a payment that a physician, supplier, or facility has received in excess of the amounts due and payable under Medicare statute and regulations. An overpayment costs everyone, you as a provider, the Medicare beneficiary, and the Medicare Trust Fund. Let's start with the reasons you may receive an overpayment. You may receive an overpayment for a duplicate payment that was received for a service already paid for, a payment that was paid to the wrong provider, a claim that was processed as a signed claim instead of an unassigned claim, resulting in a higher payment than Medicare's approved amount. You received payment for a non-covered service. Medicare performed a post-payment medical review of a claim and determined the documentation didn't support the medical necessity for the service. A provider or a Medicare contractor may have discovered that a medical service was not rendered. And last but not least, it was discovered that a payment was made by another insurance company primary to Medicare. Anyone can identify an overpayment. If you identify the overpayment, you have an obligation to return the money back to the Medicare Administrative Contractor or your MAC, such as First Coast. If your MAC notifies you of the overpayment, different steps will be taken, but you still have an obligation to return the money. Let's start with the provider-identified overpayment. Once you identify an overpayment by Medicare for a service, you are required to notify your MAC within 60 calendar days. To refund money overpaid by Medicare that you self-identified, you have a few options. First, you can complete our Return of Monies voluntary refund form located on our website and mail it in. To access the form, visit our website, medicare.fixo.com, select your locality and line of business, then click on Forms from the left-hand column. The form is located in the Overpayment section. We also include instructions and mailing information for Florida, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. If you are completing the paper form and mailing it in, we recommend that you submit the check for the refund amount with the submission of the form. If you're unsure of the refund amount owed, you can wait for us to issue the notification letter, which will communicate the amount. This option is available for Part A or Part B providers. A second option is specific to Part A Medicare providers. You can perform some adjustments in the Direct Data Entry System, or DDE, which is an application of the Part A Claim Processing System Fiscal Intermediary Standard System, or FIS. When you perform an adjustment, DDE automatically notifies the MAC's financial system to initiate the overpayment recovery process. When using this method, you do not need to mail a check to First Coast. We'll send you a notification letter requesting the overpayment amount due. A final option is for Part B providers only. You can utilize First Coast Secure Provider Online Tool or SPOT system to electronically submit secure documentation. If the overpayment is related to Medicare Secondary Payer or MSP, complete the MSP overpayment refund form. Otherwise, complete the non-MSP overpayment refund form. By using the secure documentation feature in SPOT, you have to wait for the notification letter to be received before refunding the amount owed, as there is no way to submit the payment electronically. Next, we'll discuss what happens when Medicare or another government agency identifies an overpayment. Many entities can identify an overpayment, such as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the Office of Inspector General, your MAC, or a Medicare contractor like the Recovery Auditor. However, MACs are responsible for recouping the overpayment. Once your MAC is notified of the overpayment, they will adjust the claim that processed incorrectly. This action results in a new remittance advice, which is the notice sent outlining your claim's payments, non-payments, or adjustments. The remittance advice shows how the claim was processed based on corrected information leading to the overpayment. The overpayment is calculated by the difference in the original paid amount and the corrected paid amount. For example, say Medicare originally paid you $100. After correcting the claim, you only received $60. You have been overpaid by $40. Your MAC will issue you a demand notification letter for the difference of $40. It's very important for you to refer to your demand notification letter as it outlines important information regarding the overpayment collection process, such as your option for submitting a rebuttal, the deadline to submit a refund to prevent an offset from future Medicare payments, appeal guidelines applicable for the type of overpayment identified, when interest will begin to accrue, and when the recoupment will begin. Now we'll review how the overpayment collection process works and important dates to understand. Beginning day 1 of the overpayment process, the demand notification letter is sent to the billing provider and the adjusted claim will appear on your next scheduled remittance advice. The remittance advice will have reason code FB to indicate the forwarding balance for the overpayment amount. Forwarding balance is the amount of overpayment that will be deducted from your next paid remittance advice. Remember, FB isn't the amount that has been deducted yet. It is telling you the amount that will be deducted from your next remittance advice. The letter will have the amount due date for the refund, time frames, the reason for the overpayment, and appeal options. There will also be an additional attachment with the letter that includes the beneficiary's name, claim number, provider information, and the amount due. If you plan to submit a rebuttal, it must be submitted by the 15th day. A rebuttal is a statement from the provider attesting why the overpayment may not be correct and the amount due could put the provider in a financial bind. Most rebuttals are returned because they do not meet the definition of a rebuttal. It's important to note that the rebuttal does not stop the process, and it is not an appeal. If you believe the overpayment is an error, we suggest that you submit an appeal to your MAC. Day 30 is critical. If you believe the overpayment is an error, submit an appeal. If the appeal is received by day 30, the recoupment process is stopped until a decision is rendered on the appeal request. This is the only way to stop the overpayment process. By day 30, your MAC must have also received your full refund payment before interest starts to accrue. On the 31st day, interest begins accruing on overpayments. So if the overpayment has not been paid in full, we'll begin adding interest. And we'll continue to add interest on the unpaid balance every 30 days until it has been paid in full, even if you have requested an appeal. Day 41, recoupment begins. This means if the overpayment has not been paid in full, we'll begin subtracting the amount from claim payments issued to you. The refund amount will be reflected on the remittance advice and shows at the end of the remittance advice with the reason code WO, referred to as withholding offset. Day 120, this is the final deadline date to submit an appeal for the overpayment. If you still believe the overpayment is an error, submit the appeal to render a favorable decision, but remember, the recoupment process will continue. Any money owed to you from a favorable decision will be paid on the next remittance advice after the claim is adjusted. So here are some key things to remember about the overpayment process. You can refund your overpayment amount or have the amount offset from future remittance advices. You can select immediate offset by completing the appropriate form on the website. We encourage you to submit your refund with your overpayment form. To learn more about the immediate offset process, visit our website, scroll to Appeals on the side panel, hover on Overpayment and the FAQs. There is an article linked under Request Immediate Recoupment titled, Learn How to Have Overpayments Immediately Offset, and it outlines the process for submitting your request. Another important reminder is you'll receive 2 remittance advices. The first remittance advice will have reason code FB to indicate the forwarding balance for the overpayment amount. The second remittance advice will have a WO for withholding offset, to indicate the overpayment amount was withheld from the total amount of the remittance. Remember, submitting a rebuttal does not stop the recoupment process. The rebuttal should indicate why the payment requested may put a burden on the provider to pay back, and look for other options for recouping the money. And lastly, if you believe the overpayment is an error, submit an appeal within the first 30 days of receiving the first notification letter. An appeal will halt the recoupment process, but not the interest accrual. Down below the video, you will find some additional resources to help with understanding the overpayment process. We hope you learned more about the overpayment process and your responsibilities. You can visit our website for more resources and to check out our other educational videos. Thanks for watching.